Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this little pistol that you see in my hands right here. This is the Taurus PT709 Slim. So as you probably can guess, it's designed for concealed carry, holds 7+1 rounds, and it comes in at a pretty darn good price point. So, you know, when I review relatively expensive guns, you guys always say, why don't you review something that we can actually afford? And then when I review things that are affordable like this, a lot of you guys complain and say it's junk. Well, either way, I don't really care about that. What I care about is the performance, how it did in our testing, and basically that's what we're going to give you here today. So first up, we're going to let the dogs take a look at it, make sure it's good to go, put some more rounds through it. Then we're going to test the pistol with several different loads of hollow point ammunition, because of course, being that it's designed for concealed carry, that's what most folks are going to be carrying in it, is hollow point for defensive use. So after that, we'll get into the details on the pistol, and at the end we'll wrap it up with what I think of it overall. Now we're going to test the function of this little pistol here with a few different hollow point self-defense loads. So in the gun right now, we have it loaded up, 7 in the mag and 1 in the tube of this Federal 115 grain train and protect ammo. It's kind of like Federal's budget self-defense ammo. So we'll see what it will do. If I could shoot, that would help. But so no problems there. Now we'll load up some 147 grain. This is the G2 ammo from Spear Gold Dot. All right, so no problem seating the mag with a round in the chamber. That's good. No issues at all with that load either. Heavy load for caliber. And next up, we have some 147 grain HSTs. HSTs tend to be my jam when it comes to self-defense pistol ammo. It's pretty much what I carry in just about every gun that has chambering of HST anyway. So again, it's going to be a heavy for caliber load. One thing that stinks about this gun is that it only comes with 1 mag. So of course that's due to price, but mags are out there. I looked around, Gun Mag Warehouse has some. I'm probably going to put an order in for one, simply because this process at the range kind of annoys me. But I would imagine the most of the people who are purchasing this pistol aren't going to be high volume shooters. But anyway, we'll see how it does with this HST. You can definitely feel the recoil on that one. It was a little bit snappier. It's a little bit more powerful of a round, but no issues in terms of feed or function, as you guys saw. Getting into the details of the pistol, we'll start back here on the bottom and sort of work our way up just to have some semblance of order. We'll drop the magazine. One thing I will point out there is that the mags do drop free, as you guys can see. If you're gripping onto the grip when you hit that mag release, they won't though. So if you're actually putting tension on there, they won't drop free in my experience. Mag capacity is 7 rounds, plus you can put 1 in the chamber for a total capacity of 8 rounds. You guys can take a look at the mag. In my opinion, it's a pretty high quality mag. It's got a high-vis follower as well, and it is anti-tilt as well. So good construction there. I certainly can't complain about that. Moving up there on the grip, you can see that we do have some texturing here on the sides with the Taurus logo on both sides. What I do like is on the back strap as well as on the front strap here, the lines that are on the sides turn into checkering. What I like about that, of course, is that under recoil, it's going to give you a little bit more friction in your hands. It's going to help the gun stay put in your hands while you're firing. So I do like that. Has a little bit of an undercut up here. The magazine release, as you guys can see there, it doesn't stick out very far. It's kind of minimalist. It's definitely not designed to win like IDPA competitions or anything like that, but I do like it on a carry gun. That minimizes the chance that you're going to bump it. So again, I certainly do like that. Continuing up the side of the pistol, on the sides here we have these little contours built into each side on the pistol. It does sort of allow your hand to naturally fit like that if you're going to be doing one-handed firing. However, of course, if you're doing 2 hands, you want your thumbs up there, and it really isn't an issue either way in that regard. The mag release I should have mentioned earlier is not ambidextrous, so that is something to think about. It's on the left side only. And continuing to move forward, we have our trigger. So trigger on this gun is interesting. Number one, it does have a double strike capability. So if you wanted that for whatever reason, you can do so. I've never used one in my life. I always just do standard tap rack bang kind of thing. But the trigger itself, it has the trigger safety on there. So the pre-travel is very long, very long. And then you come back here to the rear and it breaks at the rear right there. And it has some over travel as well. The trigger break on this one on my scale is right at 6 pounds. It's not terrible. One thing I will say rather, is that for folks who have relatively large hands, if you take a look at the trigger reach, okay, of course that's from right back here to where it actually breaks, which is right there. That's a pretty short area. So for somebody who has kind of large hands like I do, it feels like, I don't know, a really short trigger reach. Now the thing that's good about that, of course, is people with small hands, that's going to be great for you because it's going to be very easy for you to comfortably pull that trigger. But the trigger is not terrible. It's not anything to write home about. It gets the job done, and I was able to pretty well get hits with the pistol without much effort at all. Of course, we have the takedown buttons here on each side, very similar to Glocks that we'll show you here in just a second, and no rail up front, so it is smooth and minimalist in that regard. The slide on the pistol has a blued finish. I believe they do also make a stainless version of this particular model, but the bluing, not the most durable finish out there in the world, that's for sure. You guys can kind of see the high spots on my gun are starting to wear. That's just from good, honest use that we've been putting the gun through so far. The serrations here on the rear are good. They're very usable. They're relatively sharp. If you grab onto them, your hand will stick to them, even if you're a little bit sweaty or have blood on your hands or anything like that. It will definitely engage pretty positively there. There's no front serrations for those of you guys that want that. You guys can see the nose of the pistol sort of angles down and in. Again, for concealed carry, that's good. Easy to reholster in terms of that. We do have a loaded chamber indicator there on the top of the slide. So if you have a round in the chamber, that will stick up and it'll let you know both visually and tactilely that you have a round in the chamber. One thing to point out on this pistol on the slide here is that it does have a lock here. It comes with a little lock, and you can basically put the key that Taurus designs in there and turn it to lock the pistol, and it will not function. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I know some people are, so I guess it's up to you guys how you feel about that. Sights that come on the pistol are not terrible. The rear is windage adjustable for the user, so that certainly is a good feature for a gun in this price point. However, I put the TrueGlow TFX Pros on here. Number one, they're relatively affordable. We'll drop a link down below for folks looking to pick one up, but they are fiber optic and tritium. So if you look up top there, you can see that fiber optic that's going to be letting the light in, and then up front, in front of those, is a tritium vial that's going to give you good illumination at night and in low light conditions, so you can still pick your sights up. The front sight here has that white outline, so during the day it's really going to draw your eye to it, so I do like that. And one thing I think I didn't mention, and I should have when discussing the frame here, is this safety. So it has a left side only safety, 1911 style, so up is safe and down is fire. You know, I'm not a huge fan of thumb safeties on pistols that have other safeties built in, like the trigger safety and the striker safety that this one has, but it's positive. It's very easy to disengage, which I like. It's not easy to engage, which again I do like, so you're probably not going to accidentally put that on, but it comes off pretty easy, and you know, a lot of folks are going to like thumb safeties as well. So pros and cons there, it just depends on whom you ask, I suppose. Disassembling the pistol is pretty straightforward stuff. We're going to press our mag release, take our magazine out. We're going to push up here on the slide lock, make sure that we are clear. There's nothing in the chamber and no mag. At this point, we're going to let the slide go home, point in a safe direction, press the trigger to the rear, pull back slightly on it, and the slide should come right off there, as you guys see now. We have our recoil spring and guide rod that is steel. And we do have our barrel that will come out. Again, it's a 3.2 inch barrel, Browning design in terms of operation, which certainly is proven at this point. You guys can take a look on the inside. You'll see very little in terms of chatter or machine marks or anything like that, which is pretty good for a pistol of this price point. And that's pretty much it. To assemble it, we're just going to do the exact Same thing in reverse. You guys will see, of course, that we do have a striker safety in there, which is a good thing. So we do have some internal safeties along with the external safety. And we're going to put the slide back on, rack it, just do a quick functions check, make sure we're working, and we're done. I'm sure some of you guys have never actually seen a 709 in person, so we're going to give you a quick size comparison of the pistol compared to some other popular ones out there, and we'll actually roll in the dimensions here for you guys. But one that, of course, is going to be competing in the same sort of category for concealed carry is the Glock 43. One huge difference, of course, is the Glock is much more expensive. But you can see sort of how they compare size-wise for those of you guys who are familiar with that. And the Glock, of course, is going to have 6+1, so one less round with the flush base plate versus the Taurus that we have here. Then a gun that, you know, obviously it's funny to laugh at, a lot of people make fun of it, but a gun that a lot of people look at in a budget for carry is the High Point. Absolutely they do. It's a top 5 selling gun in the US pretty much every year. So if you don't believe me, you can look it up, but it's absolutely true. So you guys can see there the High Point's much larger in just about every way due to that blowback design. They have a huge heavy slide, so it's also about 10 ounces heavier than the Taurus, which comes in at 19 ounces unloaded. This one here is 29, so much larger overall. And with the High Point, you actually only get one more round, so that's something to consider there as well. And of course the Glock 19, everybody's kind of familiar with that, right? So you'll see there it's a little bit longer in the slide, it's wider. Of course it's going to be a touch longer if you actually had the magazine in there, which I don't have now, I apologize for that. But of course the big difference is just how much wider it is. The slim design here on the 709 is much easier to conceal carry, a little bit more comfortable as well, but you're giving up capacity. It just sort of is the nature of the beast with these sort of slim 9mm pistols. One point I always want to discuss when talking about any firearm, but particularly one that's designed for concealed carry or defensive use like this one, is going to be reliability. So this one here has just over 800 rounds through it. The majority of those Minuteman munitions, total metal jacket stuff, but also the hollow points that you guys saw earlier, has had a total of 2 malfunctions. Both of them were failure to feed malfunctions and were easily cleared, obviously, by the operator. However, you know, not 100% reliability, but not atrocious reliability either. So sort of somewhere between there. Obviously, I'd prefer it to have 0 malfunctions, but I just report what happens here and let you guys make the decisions. So that's that. In terms of price point, these things, I think the MSRP is like $319. If you look around online, you can generally find these for $250 or less. We'll drop some links down below in the video description for you guys looking to pick one up. And every now and then they go on sale and they're below $200. I've seen them that low in the past. So if you're on a budget and looking for a concealed carry semi-automatic pistol, it's one I think a lot of people are going to take a look at. I know these have been pretty popular pistols for Taurus over the years. One thing I know is that the early models, say like pre-2012-ish, when they first released them, had some light strike issues. I remember hearing about that back then. But from what I understand, the current version of them, the ones that have been made in the last few years, have not had that issue at all. I've never had the issue with this pistol like we talked about earlier with the reliability. So all in all, it seems pretty decent. It's got decent ergos. The sights that come on it aren't atrocious for the price point. I do think the True Glows are definitely a big upgrade though, for sure. Magazine construction seems quality. All in all, I'm not mad about it. If you guys have any questions about this pistol, by all means, you can post down below in the comments section. You can post over at my Facebook page. As always, that's generally the best place to get in touch with me because I do see more comments over there than I do on YouTube, Full30, and other places that I do post content. But that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're new to the channel here and this is the first time you're catching one of my vids, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope to see all of you in the next video.